February is an utter hell month for just how many pretty damn incredible looking games are coming out. One of them is Elden Ring, but there could be a major issue with Elden Ring. It brings us no joy to talk about this.
None whatsoever.
This is something that members of the community have been trying to bring up to the developer and publisher for a long-ass time, and it is a major security vulnerability, one that's, at least from what I understand in the recent server, the tech tests, the vulnerability is still there.
Yep, absolutely.
So it's rough, right? So the first thing we got to do is we got to talk about the historic vulnerabilities. Basically, there's a severe remote code execution exploit that could just be used to gain access to someone's computer. So that's not good. And this is very critical. So, stealing sensitive information, installing malware, siphoning resources to do funny things, put on your Norton antivirus hat and mine some crypto. Right, so that's rough. Now, the most recent appearance of this was impacting Dark Souls 3, but this vulnerability was also present in the previous two Dark Souls games. Now, how did Bandai Namco react? Did they fix the problem, Matt?
I mean, it's Bandai Namco. Obviously, they've got a lot of, they've so much in the Dark Souls series, they've so much in FromSoft. Surely they fixed it immediately, right?
100%.
Christ. They haven't fixed the bug, but they have solved the problem immediately by turning off all of the servers.
Yes.
All the PvP servers on PC for Dark Souls, for Remastered, not Prepare to Die Edition yet, although they may have done that by now, but it was Remastered 2 and 3, so PvP online servers, the stuff that, if this were any other company, we would immediately be saying, well, this is a feature, part of the game, part of what you paid for, so we have to say it here. Yeah. It's a part of the feature you paid for. It doesn't work. It's insecure, so they've turned it off. And there is basically no word on them coming back. And that's just it. Multiplayer is too dangerous to have online on PC because it just gives people access to your PC, so it's gone. Yeah,
so that stuff was turned off January 23rd. There are apparently, though, over 100 hacks, cheats, and security vulnerabilities within Dark Souls 3. So that's rough.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone who's played those on PC knows that it is a hellscape. It is an utter hellscape, always has been and always will be, but it's like some of that comes down to, it's Dark Souls jank. The same way, it took, I can't remember his name, but the Gedo Sato did to, let it run 60 FPS on PC, but then doing that also broke half the physics in the game, so that had to be fixed. Like, the same way that jank is like, it's FromSoft jank, that's fine. That's what we like the game for. Same with the netcode's really jank. That's kind of, teleporting backstabs are not a good experience, but they're part of the charm.
Yeah.
Except it's not really that charming.
Remote
it's not that charming
execution exploits, maybe less of a charming thing. Yeah. And the sad thing is that they were actually warned about this and have completely neglected to fix anything. So basically, one of the people behind the discovery of this exploit told them last month about the vulnerability. They also made up a PDF on basically how to fix an issue. The issue, along with evidence of the exploit. They didn't act on this tip, though, right? So the reason why this is now public, and this is something that sometimes happens, like in the security community, it's like, right, well, you're not going to fix this problem. We're security engineers, whatever. We know this is a problem, so we're just going to make it public. So you motherfuckers better fix this.
Yeah. Same thing happened with GOG Galaxy a while ago, where it's just, I've done all the protocols of this line of work for bug hunting and stuff is, we give you notice. If it's a user-facing problem, we'll give you notice. Then if you don't fix it, it's public, and then that'll force your hand. And the person who releases it is generally protected from ramifications of this, because if they followed process, it's like, oh yeah, this is the done thing. So it's like, yep, sorry, players are it's public, so people will be looking for it, people will be using it, but it's Bandai Namco's problem now.
Yeah, it's a bit like if you were really pissed off at Warzone cheating because of something that was really easy to find or solve. Yeah. What you could do is just make the cheat software, release it for free, and they're like, okay, now you're forced to do this. Yep. Or, just release your methodology to let the cheat people do it, which would then be strong-arming Activision into fixing the problem. Now, for this, actually, one of the people talked to VGC. And I'm just going to quote them because, frankly, I don't want to mess it up, and this is way out of my wheelhouse. Basically, it really seems like the online is pasted over a single-player game and no thoughts are given about security. It's staggering how many game structs are memory mapped into network packets and sent to other players, then used by the receiving player's game directly. There are almost no data sanity checks. So, if I'm understanding that right, it's basically not checking that what is received is what is sent.
Yeah, it is just pure one-to-one communication. Just, oh yeah, here's the memory. Jam that in your PC and see, or jam that in your application, see what happens.
So,
and if that memory happens to contain some instructions for running something, there you go.
Imagine you are sending a parcel.
Yep.
Somebody intercepts it, puts a little surprise in the parcel. No, there's obviously no checks. It arrives at its location. Oh dear, you open it up and there's a big surprise in your parcel. Which, in this case could be some tasty weave, a bit of remote code execution.
Yeah, it's like, it could be remote code execution that, install something on your PC that mines crypto or, hijacks whatever else. Or it could also be, a bit of code that corrupts your save file if they're being a little bit less malicious about it.
Yeah.
Or I guess it could be something that, kills you in PvP. So that kind of thing, basically.
Now, the issues continue. So basically, the way the executables are built does not help here. Now, the example provided here is that in Dark Souls 3, the address space layout randomization is disabled. And then the game's code pages are marked as read, write, execute instead of read, execute. Right? And that makes something like an RCE way, way, way easier to do. And then this person is saying, ironically, I suspect those decisions were made specifically to facilitate the implementation of From's anti-cheat, which appears to be useless for stopping most cheaters. So essentially, they have this banjaxed anti-cheat that led to them doing a bunch of things that in reality opens them up to more security flaws. Now, another member of the Dark Souls community also made a bunch of reports, to FromSoft about exploits and cheats. One of them was a New Game Plus exploit back in 2019. Then this person also reported a separate remote code execution vulnerability in 2020. Nothing was done. Yep. Nothing was done. So this is all in the realm of Dark Souls 3. You might think, well, it's a bit of software. It's already out. Do they really want to re-engineer the thing? Whatever. It'll be fixed for Elden Ring, Matt. Surely it'll be fixed for Elden Ring, right?
So this is where you run into the problem of FromSoft being very economical. Because obviously, you look at Elden Ring and there's all these jokes about it being Dark Souls 8. You're like, well, if you take Demon Souls and the Demon Souls remake and Bloodborne, and you are basically a Dark Souls 6 or 7. Maybe you call one of the earlier games Kingsfield, I think they were called. Maybe they're precursors to Dark Souls. So you get Dark Souls 8. They'd be using the same engine, the same tech. Sekiro is like different, but it still feels immediately Dark Souls.
Oh, yes.
You're like, oh yeah, this is Dark Souls with a fresh coat paint and like some mechanical changes. Bloodborne, here's Dark Souls, but it's a bit faster. So they just keep reusing stuff. They clearly have the same base that they're really familiar with, and they just keep cycling it around. And Elden Ring specifically is very, very much Dark Souls 4, but not Dark Souls. But that's the core of it, is Dark Souls. So, it's likely going to be there. That's what people were thinking. And then it was, I can't remember who it was, but someone came out and said, yeah, in the technical test, we got to see some code. It broke apart whatever we had, and yes, all of the problems are there.
Delicious.
All of those RCEs are capable in the network test build, which was November, I believe. So, likely speaking, that unless something changes, especially because if they've had to turn off the PvP servers and haven't talked about it, they haven't addressed the fact that this will be fixed, which implies to me it hasn't been fixed yet.
Yeah. So, all of this is just because they're using the same, basically the same server structures and stuff that they've been using for the past 10 years. The console exclusive games obviously get around this. Sekiro gets around this because it doesn't have the async multiplayer. But obviously for a mainline release coming out on PC, this is a major, major, major issue. Oh man, this could really, really bite them in the ass. Like if there's a bad story that comes out of this, that's going to be a PR friggin' nightmare.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that you're sitting thinking, well, okay, I guess then buy Elden Ring on console to be safe. If you're the kind of person who, could have either and not be too concerned. The console version is, obviously outside of the fact that Elden Ring will likely have a substantial modding scene and stuff like that, it's probably the better shout. And Bandai Namco's silence on it is really quite deafening at this point because, well, I mean, they've got 3 weeks until the game's out, but, this is prime pre-order territory. This is where, I was going to pre-order it this week, and I'm like, well, on physical on console, so I can actually have, a physical thing arrive on the right day, but because obviously I don't pre-order otherwise, but as now I'm sitting thinking, shit, well, do I play it on PC? Do I play it on PS5? This is actually changing. Obviously, I'm still going to play the game, but it's still like I'd rather have it on PC where I can get mods and any problems because it's a FromSoft game will be fixed.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, well, now I'm directly impacted. Shit.
So I guess to close us off from just some comment from the people who have been trying to break this story and what they're basically saying. Right, well, number one, the discoverer of the latest exploit just believes it's inevitable that Elden Ring is going to feature many of the same vulnerabilities. And that means that a lot of exploits and things that already exist, say from Dark Souls 3, those can just be ported over. Is their belief, right, very easily, which means that this could be a fairly compromised game on PC day one. Now, of course, a exploit to just let you go through the game, like, is that going to absolutely be completely against the design of the game? Yes, absolutely, but it's not going to hurt anyone. Whereas RCEs certainly could. Now, one good quote here, I was made aware of the use of EAC, which is easy anti-cheat, in Elden Ring yesterday. Overall, I think this will greatly help to mitigate the online cheating problem in Souls games. EAC is one of the better commercial anti-cheats, and bypassing it is not trivial and requires writing a kernel driver. EAC updates also regularly break bypasses, which must be fixed by cheat developers. So that is good. However, they also believe that, like, ultimately, EAC is not going to slow these people down that much. I mean, like, come on, it's crackers. They're really good. They're really good at cracking things.
Yep.
Yeah. But also it's going to slow down some community mods, which could be unfortunate. And the RCE problem will still exist because EAC is not really going to head that off. Now, Luke says, I've had the chance to see code from the closed network test and can already tell you there are a lot of crashes and vulnerabilities in Elden Ring's netcode. The exact same ones as in Dark Souls 3. So I suspect it's going to take 5 minutes for cheaters from Dark Souls 3 to port their scripts to Elden Ring and make release date a hellscape. So if that async multiplayer is on, then, I mean, not working off the most knowledge here, but I assume it's kind of like the invade thing. So you just be invaded by another player who's just going to have a bunch of cheats and exploits.
Yep.
And they can just kill the fuck out of you.
Yeah, or worse, of course.
Yeah, which is going to be really... Yeah, even... Obviously, then they could be doing some nice, remote code execution and doing whatever the hell they want on your computer. But even just for the game playing experience, if you want the multiplayer, which certainly lots of people do...
Of course,
to me, it seems like a tremendously stressful thing, but I guess that's like the hit that you really want.
Yeah.
That could be compromised, which is really unfortunate, and it's just doubly wild that, like, they've known about all of this for years and years and years.
Yeah, I think it's I'm trying to think of another example where there's a game studio that's kind of the same where I know what the example is. The example I was thinking of is, this is going to sound rough, but Game Freak, where for outside of Sekiro, FromSoft have been really isolated, and they've just made Dark Souls and Dark Souls variants for years and done really well out of it. But it's clear they haven't like massively expanded or changed anything fundamentally. They still, I imagine, I haven't looked at the credits, but I imagine a lot of the same core staff doing the same core stuff and just hiring up to do more content, which means they haven't really adapted or learned to any of obviously their games are improving massively, like in terms of like, I guess technical quality, visually, and in terms of some design. No, FromSoft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you brought up Game Freak, and I thought, man, Arceus is really good, but oh boy, it looks really weird.
Yeah, no, so like Game Freak are very isolationist, but FromSoft are also super isolationist, and I think that's kind of got this thing of that they're not likely to learn about this problem and solve the problem until it kicks them in the head. And I'm hoping Bandai Namco kind of come in and kick them in the head and go, listen, you're going to have to fix this very, very quickly. Sorry if you have to re-engineer your entire netcode. Or get some band-aid fix really quick, but it's brutal that they just sort of went, is this a problem? Yeah, it's fine, we'll just get the game out. And I think because everything about Elden Ring seems to be utterly outstanding, so the idea that this is, especially if it's publicized, because I mean if it's existed in Dark Souls 2 and 3 and not been highly publicized, you can imply that it's not been a big deal, it's just a possibility. But if the possibility is publicized, the attention's drawn to it, then suddenly there's a big black mark on what is otherwise looking to be one of like the freest wins for games in a long time. Which is just, this game's been in the works forever, and it comes out and it's massive and great. And now there's just a little asterisk, you're like, shit, that's not what anyone wants.
Yeah, not absolutely. So the situation sucks. I guess if they turned off the PvP in the other games. I suppose there is a decently high chance they will turn off the PvP in this. From how I would play Elden Ring, and it's the thing, I do intend to. I loved playing Sekiro. Game beat me into pulp. Oh my god, what a way to feel like an utter moron. Doesn't deserve to hold a controller. That was my Sekiro experience. But it was that, fun thing where you do feel like you're getting better. So it's a game that I'm like excited for. I'm going to play it later though. I just don't have the time because it's also MMO February.
MMO, yeah.
So for me, the PvP side honestly doesn't interest me that much. So it'll be okay. And I think there's probably lots of people who are also in that camp. I think those people are probably pretty safe for day one.
For sure.
Especially if it's on console. But
well, obviously.
That shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen.
Yep.
This is wild.
Yeah, it is just unfortunate that these problems can exist. And I mean, it's the same across every kind of bug bounty or remote code execution situation where it's just, hey, this is like a fundamental architectural problem. At least that's what you imagine when you think of, okay, well, Dark Souls netcode has been busted and hasn't really got any better in a long time. It's got better incrementally, but not massively. So I think you just got this fear of, oh yeah, it's a problem that they don't have time to solve, so they just stay quiet on it as opposed to solving it. Kind of like what happened with GOG Galaxy, where they're like, yeah, this would require re-architecting a substantial portion of this software. We can't do that. I mean, in the time frame you've allotted, so we have a problem. I think that's kind of that's the worry. Like, you're like, oh yeah, just fix it in 3 weeks. You're like, no.
Yeah, just change the architecture. Done.
Yeah, just completely revamp how your netcode works. No problem. Also, the game's gone gold. Day one patch all your netcode to be fixed. Sweet. Perfect.
Yeah, so look, a rough time. We just have to see how this thing launches. I mean, hopefully, ultimately the thing is at a base level, it seems like the game is pretty damn brilliant looking. So, overall, it is happy smiles. It's just we don't want a big thing to be the launch.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's basically it. I guess I'd say if I was to leave a parting question, how much does PvP in a Souls or Souls-like experience actually mean to you? Because I've never really had a good grasp of that. It hasn't seemed appealing to me, but I know a lot of people like it, so I kind of roughly want to know.
Yeah, I would imagine to me, I would imagine it's the really like hardcore community that form the basis of the Souls fandom. The kind of people who will, make sure that the Extra Life wiki is 100% perfect all the time and really advocate for the game among people. I think they're the people who are likely to love the PvP. A little bit of its jank, but also the general feel of the world with PvP enabled, with invasions, with summoning your allies to help for that. Especially because Elden Ring has expanded co-op kind of stuff, because it's no longer just boss fight, hang around for a while. It's got that lengthier dimension to it.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the thing where that's going to be so. It's hard to describe, but it's that transient kind of feeling of all of these different player worlds are interconnected. It adds such an element of, you're kind of alone, but not really in this spooky way. That just added to the atmosphere of the series so much, where they would lose so much for not being there. Obviously, you can get it through NPCs summons and NPC invaders. You can get a mimicry of that, but it just doesn't feel the same. Because I think it's less hardcore PvP. It's more the overall experience and feel of that's going to be impacted by them having to turn it off. Which is, again, unfortunate because that is so unique in games. Yeah. So unique.
Well, in that case, there we go. Good luck for launch.
Yep.
Hopefully, none of these problems end up manifesting and ruining people's experiences. Especially because this is a game that everyone's creaming for and have been for so long. And then Jeff Grubb kept on doing this. News is coming soon. I mean, I feel bad for them.
Yeah. I mean, the game's already Game of the Year.
It's just how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what Forbidden West or Ragnarok do, it's Game of the Year. To everyone who's going to play, they're going to Game of the Year now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's nothing. Doesn't matter. Those are known unknowns. It's it's a God of War game. Who gives a shit compared to Elden Ring?
Yeah, they are uniquely big. It's interesting. Anyway, so look, good luck, have fun. Hopefully no bullshit happens, but if it does happen, well, we know that it's because they didn't deal with it. I suppose with that, we will see you next time.